Welcome back to some new r/PettyRevenge stories, where people share small victories over those who wronged them. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's start with the first story. It's called Blocked Driveway. This happened a few years ago. My house has a garage and a driveway leading out to a narrow street. The street is so tight that two cars can't pass each other safely, and there are no sidewalks. Instead, people in the area like to build low stone or concrete walls around their properties, only about 50 centimeters high, but definitely high enough to be an obstacle for cars. While there aren't any official stopping restrictions on the street, it's obvious that parking there is a bad idea. Between the narrow road and all the driveways, it's just common sense. Next to my property, there's a restaurant that occasionally gets deliveries. Usually the delivery drivers park in a designated area across the street to avoid blocking traffic. It's a quiet street, mostly used by residents, so the system works well. But on one particular day, I had an urgent errand. I needed to get to the town hall to pick up some important documents, including my new ID card. Of course, that's the day a delivery driver decided to park his van right next to my driveway. While he wasn't directly blocking it, the way he parked made it impossible for me to exit. Reversing wasn't an option either, because of the concrete walls on both sides. When the driver came out to grab another box, I politely asked him to move his van. He refused and pointed to his hazard lights, as if turning them on gave him the right to park wherever he wanted. Annoyed but trying to stay calm, I waited for him to finish his delivery. That's when the idea for a little harmless payback came to me. I stayed in my car, unable to move forward or backward, still blocking half the street. The delivery driver eventually finished his job, got into his van, and tried to drive forward to avoid reversing. He gestured at me to move so he could pass. I could have backed up a few meters to let him through, but I didn't. Instead, I turned off my engine, switched on my hazard lights, and waited. You could see his expression go from mildly annoyed to absolutely furious in seconds, which I'll admit made me laugh a bit. He shouted and gestured, but I stayed put. Realizing I wasn't going to budge, he was forced to reverse about 300 meters down the narrow street, while still yelling and ranting. I ended up being late to pick up my documents, but I couldn't stop grinning all day. The next story is called Messy Coworker. I was an office manager for a small family-owned business. At the time we had about 10 people working in the office, though some were only there for a few hours each week. 5 of us, however, were in the office full-time. We had a small break room with a refrigerator and a microwave. Everyone used the fridge for drinks, and occasionally someone would bring lunch. But there was one person, let's call her Jay, who brought lunch every single day. Now Jay didn't just bring lunch. She also kept all kinds of snacks and food in her office and in the fridge. The problem was that she'd often leave her food in the refrigerator for weeks, letting it go bad. It would start to smell and take up valuable space. On top of that, Jay was the primary user of the microwave, but she never covered her food while heating it. This meant the microwave was always messy and, frankly, pretty gross, which is why no one else wanted to use it. To address these issues, I set a new rule. The refrigerator had to be cleaned out every Friday. Everyone was required to take their items home or throw them out. I also instructed Jay to clean the microwave daily, given that she was its main user. On Friday, I was always the last person to leave, so I began tossing Jay's leftover food if she hadn't already done so. That got her attention quickly. She started taking her food home, but the microwave remained a problem. Occasionally, I would need to use the microwave, and when Jay wasn't around, I'd find it in a terrible state. Once I just wanted to make some popcorn, but the microwave was so dirty I had to clean it first. Afterward, I decided to take action. I unplugged the microwave, climbed up, and put an out of service sign on it. The following week, Jay came in and was shocked to find the microwave broken. She asked when it would be fixed, and I told her it was a low priority, so I wasn't sure. For the next 8 months, the microwave stayed unplugged. Interestingly, Jay was the only person who ever asked about it. Eventually, she mentioned the broken microwave to the owner. He came to talk to me, and I explained the situation. He just laughed and didn't press the issue. Not long after, Jay was let go for unrelated reasons. Once she was gone, I plugged the microwave back in. From that point on, the microwave stayed clean. No surprise, since Jay was no longer using it. The last story is called Hotel Neighbors. I was staying at a hotel for a business trip, and everything was going fine at first. My neighbors were a bit loud, but it was only 10 PM and I didn't need to sleep yet. By 11 PM though, it was clear they weren't winding down. I could hear at least 3 or 4 people in the room next door. Still, they sounded young, and I figured young people staying up late and being loud isn't exactly a crime. I turned on the TV to try and drown out the noise a little. At one point, I even turned the TV up a bit louder than normal, hoping they'd notice how thin the walls were and maybe quiet down. No such luck. Midnight came around and they were still going strong. The walls in this hotel were very thin. It almost felt like the door between the rooms was open. There was no way I'd be getting any sleep, with all the laughing, shouting and what sounded like moving furniture. I had work early the next day, so I couldn't just brush it off. I thought about knocking on their door to ask them to keep it down, but I doubted that would help. It was well past midnight and they showed no signs of stopping. Instead, I called the front desk and asked if I could move to another room. They said a security guard would bring me a new room key. I packed up my things and waited by the door. There's something surreal about picking up a hotel room in the middle of the night. As I waited, I could hear them even more clearly from the hallway, through their closed door. Soon the security guard came around the corner. He handed me the key to a room 6 floors up and took my old room key. I said, "Just a moment," and stepped back into the room, out of his sight. I turned up the volume on the TV. It wasn't at full blast, but it was definitely loud. Uncomfortably so. The channel was playing a late-night Simpsons marathon, complete with random screaming, explosions and laughter. I figured it was a fitting soundtrack for their late-night party. Once the volume was up, I tossed the remote onto the bed and quickly hustled to the elevators. I was out of there in no time, and hopefully my former neighbors got a taste of their own medicine. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.